Hi, I'm Michael Thaw, Vice President of Advisory Services at TEC. And we're excited to present a conversation highlighting our partnership with Community Housing Partners, or CHP, and the complexities of selecting and adopting CRM and HCM software for their digital transformation. CHP is a community development corporation. They're dedicated to creating homes and communities that are healthy, sustainable, and affordable. And since 1975, they've served low-income and low-wealth individuals through a wide range of services from real estate development to energy solutions. As CHP grew and expanded their services, they recognized the need to embark on a digital transformation journey to improve their operations and better serve their clients. Modernizing their systems became critical to supporting their mission. That's where TEC came in, guiding CHP through the complex process of selecting the right technology solutions to meet their goals. In this discussion, you'll hear directly from key members of the CHP team. Bethany Garcia, Business Analyst Manager, Information Technology at CHP. Laura Croft, CHP's Vice President of Human Capital. And Raj Kasper, CHP's Vice President of Information Technology. To guide today's conversation, my colleague Victoria Chavez, our team lead for consulting services, and I will be asking questions that explore CHP's goals, the challenges they faced, and how TEC's expertise helped them succeed. With that, I'll turn it over to Victoria to kick things off.
Maybe we can start with a general question on what actually led you to choose TEC as your consultant to support you through this process.
Sure, I'd be happy to take that question, Victoria. So the project was significantly larger in scale compared to previous endeavors, and we anticipated it would consume a substantial portion of our internal resources, which would limit our ability to work on other projects for an extended period of time. TEC offered the additional capacity we needed to evaluate solutions while continuing some of our other project ongoing efforts. Our goal was to ensure we would find a long-term solution that met our needs. We were committed to following a thorough and sound selection evaluation process, and that's what TEC offered us.
So can you comment about TEC's assistance for building consensus and the value that brought to CHP?
Yeah, and we feel like it really simplified the process of gathering requirements from stakeholders. Obviously, HCM affects a lot of people, and so we had a lot of stakeholders across the organization, and we really thought the standardized approach that they used ensured that the evaluation was both thorough, but also focused on the core requirements that we needed for a system.
That buy-in definitely helped you throughout the not only the selection process, but as you're working through the other challenging parts, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it for sure did.
What about the importance of TEC defining and locking down the scope and the requirements?
Yeah, it was kind of crucial because we had a lot of requirements for an HCM, and they helped ensure that what our needs list and our wants list and our have to have list was really super well defined, specifically around legal and regulatory things. There were some things that were non-negotiables. There were some things that we would like to have, but maybe, weren't as important as others. So they did that and made sure it was really thoroughly documented. And we looked at each vendor had to go through a very significant process in saying what they could and couldn't do with each of those requirements.
What about Laura? One of the key aspects of the project was finding the right vendor. And can you talk about the experience of evaluating the broad range of vendors and then revisiting the short list to finally end up with the right one? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that was actually pretty interesting because we did have so many requirements. We really had to really focus because not every one of them could do every single thing. All of our wish list wasn't possible. So it really helped us narrow down those that check the most boxes. And then, it also helped us really say, yeah, we didn't go with this one, but this is the reason why. And it was a pretty big reason. So that when you talked about the confidence and the outcomes, that, we could go back and say, it wasn't a gut feeling. We chose this vendor because they could do the most items on our checklist and could cover the have-to-haves on our checklist.
Yeah, one of the aspects that I thought was really interesting, maybe you could comment on this, was, that it's not direct a straight line to come up with that. And so you have to kind of work through a decision process and not be rushed. Do you want to comment about that part of it?
Yeah, interestingly enough, we had the greatest rep from TEC, and we kind of got to where we were narrowing down the selection of vendors, and we were like, oh, we just don't know. And so we weren't super solidified in our choice yet. And our rep was so great to say, well, we're happy to go back to the drawing board and see if there's other people that we need to bring in, other vendors we didn't look at. And the interesting thing was we did that exercise and still ended up with the same ones that we had originally come to. So, but it was wonderful that TEC gave us the flexibility to get to that confidence level of, okay, we have looked at everything in the market that's possible, and we are at the best solution, or the one that meets the most of our needs. So
thank you for that. What about, can you talk about the value of being able to work through the live scripted demonstrations?
Yeah, I mean, that was super invaluable. We did those in person, which was very helpful too. Our tech rep came to us, and we did it over a week and really talked to our top 3. And that was super helpful because we had so many needs, and because the HRIS system covers so many things, it took a full day to do each demo. And doing them in person was very helpful for those who were in the room. And it also helped us get a feel of the different companies just as their reps represented the companies. So I thought that was a key part of the whole process, and made our decision a lot easier after we had done those in-persons to narrow down.
Really interesting. You're not only evaluating what it's like to use the software, you're also evaluating, the vendor and implementation partners, the cultural fit. There's a lot of things that are going on there.
Yeah, and that's exactly true. It's exactly true because, one of the ones that kind of was at the top kind of fell real far because of the lack of ability to show the product, and then it felt like kind of a weird technology disconnect. Like, these are technology people, they should have no problem with their technology. So yeah, for sure, that was a huge
that becomes such a critical part of the decision. Interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
So you felt like you were able to reach your objectives in the final selection?
Unfortunately, there's no panacea out there of HRIS systems that'll do it all with wonderful service and check all the boxes. And so I feel very, very confident because of the approach that TEC took and the process they worked with us through, that we picked the one that was right for us for now, and is doing what we need it to do correctly.
So I don't know how much detail you want to share on this, but can you kind of describe where you came from and where you think you're going with this new solution?
Oh, yeah, sure. The one we came from was a big player in the field and, have a lot of customers. Unfortunately, we had gotten to the point where some major compliance type issues, like on benefits and even on pay, we're getting very concerned about it, and are still working. Actually had a meeting today. We're still working through some of the issues that we were into. And so we went with a fast implementation, which about killed all of us, but it got us a system that we do not have to worry about those compliance issues anymore. And that was key, because it had gotten to the critical stage where we were having government and regulatory issues with our previous one, and now feel like we're in a much better place.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So did we meet your expectations?
Oh, yes. Yes. And actually exceeded, because like I said, we went into it saying, oh, we're going to search for a year and sign a contract and take our time, and then we're going to negotiate price, and then the next year we're going to implement. And that turned into, we're searching, we're signing, we're finishing in 2 months. So TEC was wonderful to work with us to accelerate that timeline so that we could negotiate that risk problem that we were in with the previous vendor.
It's a big deal because, HCM solutions, like the CRM solution, is a critical part of your business, right? I mean, you have to pay your employees and take care of your employees.
It touches everybody. I mean, that's the way they put in their time off. It's how they get paid. It's, it touches every single employee. And so the criticality, is that how would you would say, of that system is, it, you can't overstate how critical it is to have a working, usable for the user, usable for the admin HRIS system. It really greases the wheels of the rest of the organization.
What didn't we ask that you guys wanted to share with us?
I thought you mean from the HCM side, or just in general?
Well, both.
Both. I really liked our tech rep really held the vendors accountable. And when I say that, I mean, okay, we went through this process. We came up with this list, and that's what we're focusing on. And you said you could do it, so demonstrate that you can do it. It almost felt like a good cop, bad cop situation. Like, we didn't have to be the bad guy. They have no skin in the game. So they could push on these folks because that's their job. And it took some pressure off of the whole process, I felt like, to be able to say, we didn't like this, or they didn't answer what we were asking, or anything really. I can remember our rep, sometimes getting pretty straight with some of the vendors and being like, no, that's not what we said, and this is what we want you to provide us with. So they're salespeople, so they like to talk around, what is missing. And I felt like the approach that our rep took got to the meat of that. Like, okay, this is what it cannot do. This is what you're going to sacrifice. So I felt like going into the decision, we were very clear on exactly what it would and wouldn't do. And quite honestly, after the purchase, there were no surprises in that regard. We knew there were some things that we'd like for it to have that it didn't do, but we knew that going in. So we went in eyes wide open. So I would say, to me, that was one of the biggest benefits of having TEC help us with that decision.
Thank you, Laura.
Yeah.
Bethany and Raj, do you have anything that you want to add?
Yeah, I did want to just talk about, and it's been a while, is it called TEC Advisor, the tool? That was, for me, when we were evaluating potential partners, that was a big selling point for me, just because of how subjective I feel like people can be when doing a new evaluation. You fall for the system that looks the flashiest or has the best salesperson or something like that. And we felt like that an extra level of analysis made sure that we were objectively analyzing the products against our requirement sets. It really, as Laura was just saying, I think gave us that confidence to know where the gaps were before making a selection, because of the way that the information was displayed within TEC Advisor, that we could very easily see where there were potential gaps that a requirement was not met. And the visual graphics, the spiderweb graphics, made it really easy to also just visually see and compare different products and vendors against each other, and really see easily where the strong points were, where the gaps were, where there were commonalities. So that was a really, really helpful tool for us to really feel good about the decision we were making. And that was something that we felt
it kind of captured how you were making your decision and what your audit trail was to your decision, right?
Yes, it did. Yeah, I mean, it really helped us to take a look back at, because as you're doing these demos, you might not remember all the capabilities and feature sets, and wait, did we see this one or that one? And so being able to really look back at that and analyze the strengths, the score strengths between the vendors was just really helpful to make sure that we really knew across the board which vendors met certain requirements, which didn't. And also the cost analysis piece of it as well, where it kind of, the tool would show you over, a 3-year span, 5-year span, your kind of return on investment. That was a really helpful metric to see as well. So that was a really just helpful tool for us. Yeah,
that cost value analysis as you're entering into your final decision really puts things into perspective and makes sure that, even with your best choice, you know what you're going to be negotiating for, because you want to get the value out of it. So you want to focus on the value components and get the best price based on that.
Right. Yeah, it definitely was just very helpful to it helps you see things in different lenses that you might not if you didn't have a tool really breaking it down that way. So it definitely helped to make us confident about our decision and just help validate what our thoughts were, kind of the gut feelings through the demos. It really helped us kind of validate which way that we needed to go.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask a question, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
What would you recommend TEC to anyone that's looking to do any kind of enterprise software assessment?
I can take that one, and then if Laura or Raj want to add in too, they can. Yes, I definitely would. I think the benefit for partnering with TEC was invaluable in so many different areas. The additional just capacity that it gave us throughout the project to continue to focus on day-to-day work and other work. It was like having just additional members of our own team to really help focus on this project and move things along more quickly than we could have on our own while trying to juggle other, kind of day-to-day things on our end was really, really helpful. Again, the TEC Advisor and that objective analysis was just really valuable, and is something that, taking on an enterprise software evaluation on your own, you don't have visibility into that type of information and data. So it just made it really, really helpful for us to have that. And then, already talked about the time and the cost savings, but again, yes, there is a little bit of an investment to pay for the services, but in the long run, having the contract negotiation and price negotiation is valuable and can help make up some of that, upfront kind of expense. But I think also making sure that the solution that you're selecting is the better fit long term is a huge savings in time, money, resources long term, that you're not picking a solution that is only going to last you for a year or two, and then you have to do another evaluation. Just doing it right from the beginning was really, valuable for us. So yes, definitely was worth it, and we would recommend it to anyone that was looking for a large scale software replacement.
I would second that. everything that Bethany just said, I think is true. I would absolutely, from an HR perspective, it really, I think Bethany hit on a great point when she said it kind of takes some of the subjectivity out of decision making and really helps with the process of this is like the third one I've gone through, but it's the first time I've used tech, and I had to take on the role of asking the stakeholders and trying to do all the research while doing my day job. And so I think it's invaluable to have something like that.
Thank you. Raj, do you have anything to add before we wind up?
I think Bethany and Laura touched on everything I would say. So just I would echo their comments there. Again, I think the TEC Advisor tool was a huge benefit for our teams, not just our IT staff, but our subject matter experts and others involved, other stakeholders involved in the project. So I really appreciated having access to that tool. And then I also would again echo earlier comments about the tech staff really holding the vendor salespeople accountable and making sure that they were truthful and honest about the representations they were making about their software, so that we would be making as informed a decision as we could possibly make.
It's been an incredible pleasure and honor to work with you and the team. And I have to tell you that we at TEC are very proud of the accomplishments that CHP has made, and we look forward to your continued success. So with that in mind, I wanted to thank you very much for your time and your feedback, and wish you a great day.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.